EGS, Gender and Society. Chapter 10, Theories on the Origin of Women's Oppression, presented by Group 6 from BSHM 2B. At the end of this chapter, you will able to state his or her own understanding of the roots of sexual discrimination and explain why discrimination is not necessary for the development of human civilization and how it evolved based on historical circumstances. These report's contents are woman oppression, goddess worship to god worship, Eve and the other, and a shift of production. Good day everyone, I am Alisa Di Pedrola and I will be discussing about woman oppression and goddess worship to god worship. But what is woman oppression? Woman oppression is defined as the systematic denial of equal rights and status to women, resulting from historical evolved social construct rather than inherent biological or natural differences. This denial contradicts the significant contributions women have made and continue to make society across various domains. Many theories explain why women are oppressed, but so far, none are conclusive. Discussing this chapter are some of these theories are compiled in the work of Rosalind Miles, a feminist writer, journalist, and historian who has researched the hidden role of women throughout history. These theories will be supplemented by the findings of other researchers. All these researchers and theories demonstrate that discrimination against women is not a natural phenomenon but a situation that evolved through time. Goddess worship to god worship. One prominent theory on the oppression of women concerns worship of paradise, from ancient civilizations that worship the earth goddess to the male suppression of this goddess. Indeed, mysterious woman-centric cults existed prior to the phallocentric cults. The progression from female-centric to male-centric worship was a slow and violent process. According to Miles, she explains that early civilization, first great gods were women. There is evidence of the worship of a mother goddess figure 5,000 years ago in the major civilization of the world. This mother figure was celebrated and venerated for her fertility. The phallus cults began to prosper and the preeminence of the male and his organ began to assert itself. Somehow, Asian societies concluded that the source of life was the penis and not the womb, because life was not seen as something that emerged mysteriously from the womb but was planted there by the male organ. Men appropriated for themselves the position of power in the universe. With this development, male power in societies grew because people believed that the male bore the creative power while the female was merely the receptive vessel of life which the seed of man developed. Women were no longer seen as active partners but as passive incubators. As male power grew, inequality also rose, when valued only themselves as a powerful, creative persons. On top of this, they did not want the power of the woman to regain its prominence and overthrow that of the man. It may explain why men became particularly oppressive to women. Men had convinced themselves that they provide the active principle of life and that women were the passive incubators of life whom men had to rule. They needed to reinforce this belief by continuously treating women lowly. The theory of the mother goddess cult seems highly speculative. However, Miles shows historical evidence of this cult through the appearance of female deities, their prevalence, as well as their destruction.
Hello everyone, I am Jasmine Angeles and I will going to discuss the theory 2, Eve and the other. So Western religion influenced a negative perception of women. So first is the story of Eve. Yahweh was compelled to create the first human being, a male, and he is called Adam. Adam needed a companion, so Yahweh created Eve. Together, they were given a good life in the Garden of Paradise. They warned not to eat from the tree of knowledge, but the devil clock in the form of a snake seduced Eve to take fruit from the tree and share it with Adam. Snake seduced Eve because it perceived that she was the weaker one. But because they ate the fruit, they were banished to live outside the garden. Then the next story is about Pandora. The Pandora story is the same narrative structure that the story of Eve. So Pandora is the first woman created by Zeus, given to Epimetheus as a gift. Zeus made Pandora foolish and idle. So one day, Pandora opened a jar where Epimetheus locked away all the sprites, and because of her foolishness, she let the sprite loose. In both stories, women were perceived as the cause of the downfall of mankind because of their weakness and both sufferings. So Miles links the fall of a goddess cult to rise in discriminatory treatment against women. So women were viewed of lesser value than men, or were damned the root of sufferings. They were perceived to be the feeble-minded, manipulative, or with no moral fortitude. So women were the catalyst for men to lose their reason and responsibility. So people are inclined to believe that women are dangerous and must be controlled if not suppressed. So this belief is especially true of their sexuality.
So good day everyone, my name is Mark, and this time I'm going to discuss to you the shift to agriculture. So the shift to agriculture is a more stable source of food has been a plausible theory for suppressing women. This shift was driven by the need for more laborers at the advantage of increased productivity, leading to a decrease in women's significance in the communities. As productivity increased, women were relegated to laborer production, which was seen as more powerful. This led to women's withdrawal from public life and increased involvement in commercial cash economy. So the shift to agriculture, while providing a more stable food source, is theorized to have contributed to the suppression of women. This is because the increased need for labor production is to manage the new agricultural system led to a decrease in women's importance in society. As men took the role of laborers, women were pushed into domestic roles, further limiting their public participation and economic power. In earlier times, society had a high regard for women, but with male domination, inequality and oppression emerged. Essentialist arguments argued that women's oppression is due to their gender or socially constructed roles, such as their biological makeup, weak bodies, impurities, and women are considered the lesser sex today, as they are considered weaker and unsuitable for leadership and religious rituals. So some argue that women were once valued more highly in society, but that male dominance led to their oppression. And this oppression is often justified by essentialist arguments that claim women are inherently inferior due to their biology and social roles, making them unsuitable for leadership and religious roles. The subjugation of women is not essential or necessary state, and change can only happen if people are made aware of how the status of women was constructed. The oppression of women is made possible because existing systems orient people towards oppressing women, not because women are fundamentally weaker or flawed. So the oppression of women is not an inherent state, but rather a result of societal structures that have been built to disadvantage them. This oppression is not rooted in any inherent weakness of women, but rather in the power dynamics that have been created by the systems. Changing these systems requires raising awareness about how these structures were created and how they continue to maintain the status